According to the World Bank, over 3 billion people, more than half of the world's population, live on less than $2.50 a day, and more than 80% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. In impoverished areas, diseases like HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and malnutrition are epidemic. Hospitals are scarce or in disrepair. There is a deficiency of trained medical personnel, and medical supplies are often difficult to provide. When their own governments can do little to help, who looks out for these poorest of the poor?
Healing the poor was a big part of Christ's ministry. And so the role of faith-based organizations through our international partnerships now is less about proselytizing than it is about living out God's love by working to provide health care to the poorest areas of developing nations.
By raising funds and securing grants, these non-governmental organizations help build and operate hospitals, clinics, and training schools in some of the world's most impoverished nations and communities. With the help of global partnerships, these groups can operate on the front lines in the fight against devastating diseases of poverty, many of which affect children.
Our most common sources of funding are from Presbyterian churches and individuals, and these are our donor contributions. All contributions received here are processed by our donor service clerks, and they take great care into making sure that we honor the donors' designations. We also receive contributions through USAID in the form of OSHA grants. We also receive donated supplies and equipment, and we also receive donated services from physicians, other medical professionals, and individuals.
Remote locations and poor infrastructure in these areas of poverty makes getting medical supplies into the hands of doctors and hospitals a challenge.
Because we work closely with the International Health Ministry's office, we follow their discernment of where the areas of greatest need are in the world, and they have 5 countries that they've currently identified for their work, and that's Haiti, Malawi, Congo, Ethiopia, and Sudan. And then in addition to that, we work in many other places around the world. We try to validate all of the requests we get to make sure the needs are real and that there's a capacity to address the problem that's being raised.
The goal of foundations such as MBF is to not only provide aid, but help communities become self-sufficient through supporting their indigenous healthcare training and community health development programs.
We help our overseas church partners develop their own healthcare programs, their own training programs, and their own educational programs for local healthcare workers. With these tools in place, it helps local communities and individuals to actually thrive.
Research has shown that money alone cannot solve all the medical needs of the world's poorest areas. It also takes the hearts and skilled hands of committed full-time mission workers and the multitudes of short-term mission participants. However, traveling to these remote locations is not the only way to help. There are many things individuals can do right here at home to help people around the world, such as praying, advocating, financial support, and standing in solidarity.
Well, our partners tell us that the most important thing that people here can do is to pray for them. I think after prayer, people would like us to make the effort to get to know the real life and needs of people there, to be their advocates. And finally, people can give money, and those funds will be used by our partners to address the health and poverty and other needs of people in many places around the world.
Looking to the future, MBF will be addressing a whole variety of needs, including things like diseases of poverty, including HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, as well as continuing to meet the needs of those who just have broken bones or a need to come in to have surgery in a medical center. And so we will be providing the opportunity to meet all those kinds of needs in developing countries around the world.
For over 40 years, the Medical Benevolence Foundation has worked to provide hope and healing to the world's poorest individuals and communities. The foundation supports healing ministries, hospitals, clinics, and health training in developing areas all around the globe.
During difficult economic times, the needs of the poorest of the poor increase tremendously. So the work of faith-based organizations is needed even more to help those in need.
With medical supplies, and in fact all of the aid we send to help our partners, We begin by listening to our partners and their discernment of where the greatest need is, and we try to meet those greatest needs first.
Your generous gifts help us spread God's word, make communities more self-sustaining, and fight against the terrible diseases of poverty, such as HIV/AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, and malnutrition, and helps Indigenous partners build and operate hospitals in many of the world's most impoverished nations and communities. Please donate to the Medical Benevolence Foundation today. To donate, volunteer, or for more information, please log on to MBFoundation.org.